Imagine this, a dedicated family man obsessed with saving lives at a deadly curve near his home. But what if everything you thought you knew about his mission was about to flip upside down? This is a story of obsession, tragedy, and a shocking twist that'll leave you questioning everything. Just when you think you've seen it all, bam! You won't believe what happens next. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Dropping a like and a comment is the least you can do to show some love. And like we always say, even if some stories seem the same, they ain't never the same when I'm the one telling them. Josh McCall, his wife Rachel, and their 6-year-old son Max move into a quiet house, far from the city's noise and lights. They start unpacking, each box unpacked a step away from their old life. Over lunch, Josh shares his dream to turn the backyard into a golf course. Rachel smiles, relieved she can finally sleep without streetlights glaring through the window or cars roaring outside. But Max isn't so sure. The new house feels strange to him, and he's scared to fall asleep. Josh finds Max's favorite toy left in the car and brings it inside. "There's nothing to fear," he says quietly. "Monsters don't exist." It's been a long, draining day, yet Josh feels a quiet satisfaction, like a man who's finally planted roots. Rachel, who finds peace in yoga, says she wants to decorate Max's room with care, making it special, safe. This is supposed to be a fresh start, but sometimes, new beginnings come with shadows waiting just out of sight. Suddenly, a car crashes through the sharp corner outside, and a wild gust sends a wheel smashing through the kitchen window. The quiet of the new house shatters in an instant. Josh, working at a marketing firm, can't shake the image of the accident. The sharp bend haunts his thoughts, even in the sterile office lights. His new boss, Erickson, congratulates him on the move at day's end. Josh says nothing about the chaos outside. Later, he picks up Rachel, a psychotherapist from work. Josh suggests buying a second car. Living out here means they need one, but Rachel doubts it's smart. The money isn't there yet. A sharp corner, a broken window, and a family balancing hope and uncertainty. Sometimes safety feels more like a fragile illusion. Josh can't stop worrying. The house is dangerously close to that deadly turn. Only the driver died in the crash yesterday. He was drunk, just like the teenagers with him. Renovations rage on, but Rachel's nerves fray every time Max plays outside. What if it happens again? She wonders, gripping her fear tight. One afternoon, while mowing the lawn, Josh spots a car pull up. Strangers step out to place a cross by the road and lay a wreath, quiet memorials for the young driver. Josh hides in the garage, watching from the shadows. Later, he walks slowly to the cross. The name, Kyle Curry, only 18. Josh never met him, but the weight of loss hits hard. How many lives has this curve already stolen, and how many more will it demand? The faded warning sign hides behind the trees, a silent witness to tragedy. Sometimes danger waits quietly, right outside your door. Later, Josh digs into Kyle Curry's social media. The boy had a whole future ahead, now vanished in a cruel instant. That evening, the McCalls host a housewarming party. Guests pry, asking if Josh and Rachel plan for a second child now that their home is bigger. Rachel smiles but says she loves kids and just returned to work. Right now, money is tight. Repairs drain their savings. Josh was promised a promotion, but Erickson took it instead. When Josh brings up the accident, the room falls silent. He can't stop thinking about Kyle's parents, the ones who placed the roadside memorial just days ago. Kyle had just finished school, a football scholarship waiting for him. Rachel eyes Josh, curious how he knows so much. Josh shrugs. "I read the obituary." Sometimes knowing more only deepens the ache. After dinner, once the guests are gone, Rachel scrubs dishes in tense silence. Then she speaks. Josh shouldn't have brought up the accident. Not like that. Not at the table. But Josh can't let it go. It happened right in front of him. The image is carved into his mind. Rachel hesitates, then says what she's been holding back. Maybe, just maybe, a part of him wanted something like this to happen. When he talked about the crash, he looked smug, like it gave him purpose. Josh snaps back. It's nonsense. He's not some grief junkie craving disaster, but Rachel doesn't let it drop. She urges him to see a therapist, to work through whatever this really is. Josh refuses. He thinks he's fine. Life slips back into routine, or seems to, but Josh keeps stealing glances at that bend in the road. He watches it like it's alive, and he hides the fear in his chest, praying Rachel won't notice how often he's looking. The family tries to reclaim some joy with a day at the amusement park. Laughter, flashing lights, and spinning rides. On the surface, everything feels normal. But for Josh, the unease clings like smoke. And that night, while he's grilling burgers in the yard, it all comes crashing back. Tires screech, metal tears. Another wreck at the curve. The driver flees. Josh yells for Rachel to call 911 and rushes to the crumpled car. He speaks softly to the injured man, trying to keep him awake, anchored. But before help arrives, the man dies. Then the phone rings. A name lights up the screen. Alicia. Josh answers. He doesn't even know why. By the time the ambulance and police show up, it's too late. Again, Josh can't shake the guilt. Maybe if he'd said something different, moved faster. Rachel doesn't get it. Not fully. Why this accident? Why this man? She's done. She wants to leave. Max has become quiet, nervous. The boy stares out the window too much. This was supposed to be their dream home. Instead, it's a trap with blood on its doorstep. The next day at the office, Josh opens the dead man's phone. He doesn't even know why. Curiosity, guilt, obsession, maybe all three. Then, without telling Rachel, he decides to go to the funeral. He never knew the man, but now that doesn't seem to matter. There, he meets Alicia, the man's daughter. He introduces himself as David Davidson. A lie, smooth and practiced. He offers his condolences. Alicia asks how he knew her father. Josh replies, "We met on the golf course." It's a guess, but it lands. The man did love golf. Something snaps into place for Josh. He feels responsible now, not just for this death, but for the next, for all of them. So he signs up for a first aid course. He has to be ready. After class, he corners the instructor, asking if he can buy one of the CPR dummies. He needs to practice, perfect it. At work, his focus unravels. He studies CPR manuals at his desk, pores over diagrams and drills. Saving lives becomes his new obsession. But underneath the mission is something darker, like he's preparing for a disaster only he believes is coming. At the office, the fallout begins. After a wave of complaints, Erickson calls Josh in and doesn't sugarcoat it. Get your head back in the game, or there'll be consequences. That evening, Rachel notices something while bathing Max. Clumps of hair missing, bald patches. He's been pulling it out himself. Stress, silent, creeping trauma. The signs are too clear now. They take Max to a psychologist. She confirms what Rachel already knew. The accidents, the constant fear, are poisoning their child's mind. Rachel wants to leave immediately, but dreams are expensive, and escape costs more than they have. Josh feels the noose tight. He hates his job, resents every second of it, but quitting would collapse the last thread holding them up. The psychologist offers a band-aid, build a fence. Not a real solution, but a small shield, a wall between their son and the nightmares just beyond the trees. It's not enough, but maybe it's something. That night, Rachel lies in bed, staring into the dark, tears soaking the pillow in silence. Josh doesn't sleep either. He just stares at the ceiling, his mind spinning like a fan with no off switch. The next morning, he doesn't even bother going to work. He picks Max up from school, makes him lunch, and spends the rest of the day fixated on his CPR dummy, compressing, breathing, timing, repeating, as if saving plastic could erase the deaths he couldn't stop. Rachel comes home exhausted. She tells Josh she enrolled Max in Taekwondo. Maybe it'll help him feel stronger, safer. Josh's face tightens. She made the decision without him. He snaps. What if it's the wrong outlet? What if it makes Max worse? Rachel doesn't argue. She just walks away. Still, Max goes. He kicks, he blocks, he yells. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but at least it's something. After Taekwondo class, Josh and Max are driving home when the sirens scream past. An ambulance, then a fire truck. Josh knows instantly where they're headed. The Curv. Again, he pulls over, tells Max to stay in the car, and bolts toward the smoke. A woman is screaming, her voice raw, begging someone, anyone, to save her husband. The wreckage is a smoldering mess. Firefighters drag the man out. Paramedics swarm in. Josh stands frozen. This time, he's not the first one there. He's just a witness. A cop yells at him to back off, but then a reporter appears, mic in hand. Camera rolling. She asks if he saw what happened. Josh doesn't hesitate. He says this corner isn't just dangerous, it's a killing field. But I've never seen one this bad, he adds, eyes still wide. Then it hits him. Maximum. He turns and runs. Rachel's already there, panicking, searching the crowd. Max had climbed out of the car, curious. Just a few steps too close to the chaos. Luckily, he's unharmed. But Josh realizes something far worse. His obsession nearly cost him his son. At Rachel's insistence, Josh finally agrees to therapy, but it's not helping. Not really. He keeps replaying the accidents in his mind, convinced he could have done more, been faster, smarter, better. He's haunted by faces he barely knew. The therapist tells him gently, Josh, none of this is your fault. But Josh isn't buying it, because what if it was? That corner isn't just a road, it's a curse, and it's slowly cracking something inside him. That night, as the wind rustles fallen leaves across the pavement, Josh murmurs to Rachel, at least now the warning sign's more visible. Maybe cars will start slowing down. Maybe there's hope. But Rachel says nothing, just asks him to sleep in Max's room. The boy has PTSD, nightmares, clumps of hair missing from stress. And Josh, he's become part of the problem no one wants to name. Josh loses his job. A major client pulls out, and Erickson has no choice. You're not the same guy I hired, he says, almost apologetic. But the truth is sharper. Josh hasn't just been distracted. He's disappeared. Into obsession. Into the curve. Into the wreckage. Josh begs for another chance. Says he can fix it. But Erickson has already made up his mind. Now he's jobless, broke, and terrified of telling Rachel. So he doesn't. He plays with Max like nothing's wrong. Like their world isn't splintering at the edges. That night, he drags the trash bin to the curb. There's nothing inside it that matters. But he wheels it out anyway. A ritual, a distraction, or maybe just madness wearing a mask of routine. Inside the house, the clock ticks like a countdown. Josh lies awake, ears tuned to every car that groans past the sharp bend, waiting for the next scream. The next morning, Rachel's voice is light, casual, too normal for a house built on dread. She tells Josh she's taking Max to therapy, then stopping by the pizzeria for lunch. "You should come with us," she says, not knowing her husband has nowhere else to be. Josh smiles, nods, lies. "I'd love to, but I have to check in with work first." He doesn't go to work. Instead, he locks himself in the garage. CPR dummy on the floor, knees down, elbows locked. Compress, release, repeat. Josh isn't saving anyone, but the illusion is all he has left. Afterward, he watches car crash videos. Endless loops of shattered glass and twisted metal, the scream of tires before silence. The paranoia has teeth now. Every engine outside sounds like fate speeding toward his front door. And Josh flinches every time. A for sale sign stands crooked on the front lawn, swaying in the wind like a silent surrender. The first potential buyers arrive early. The realtor, late. So Josh, in a wrinkled shirt and forced smile, offers to show them around. "It's a peaceful area," he says, skipping over the sharp corner, the sirens, the ghosts. Great for kids. Later, he meets Rachel and Max's psychologist at the clinic. The room is bright, sterile, nothing like the inside of Josh's head. Rachel's voice cuts clean. "I called your office. They said you don't work there anymore." Josh blinks. "That's weird. Probably a mistake." His smile is thinner now, stretched too tight to hold. The doctor shifts in her chair. "Max is doing well. No signs of PTSD. He's coping." Josh nods, but something in him recoils. If Max is healing, then why isn't he? The phone rings, slicing through the quiet. Rachel listens, her face tightening. The realtor's voice trembles on the other end. Josh scared off the buyers, not with charm or paint colors, but by unloading the house's dark history. Rachel stares at Josh, confusion mixing with worry. Why didn't he tell me he lost his job? What's really going on with him? Without another word, she starts packing. Max follows, clutching his favorite toy. Then Rachel spots the CPR dummy, propped lifeless in the corner like a haunting reminder. Josh's voice cracks with desperation. "I just wanted to save lives. Like you do, helping people." But Rachel shakes her head, eyes cold and resolute. This isn't normal. Without looking back, she walks out the door, leaving Josh alone with his guilt, his fears, and the silence that screams the loudest. Josh clutches the phone, desperation tightening his grip. He calls a lawyer, hoping to salvage what's left of his shattered marriage. Rachel plans to file for divorce and keep Max away from him, but Josh refuses to let go without a fight. The lawyer lays it out cold and clear. To win custody, Josh must prove he's the better parent, that Max's best chance lies with him. Josh feels the weight crushing him. He needs a job, a new home, fast. But with the sharp corner's shadow hanging over his name, nothing will come easy. The nightmare isn't just in the past, it's the road ahead. Josh's visits with Max are limited, just once a week. Max's small face crumbles with every goodbye. He wishes for the past, for the family they once were. Josh promises he'll sell the house soon, and they'll have more time together. But days turn into weeks. Nothing changes. The house that was meant to be a fresh start has become the wreckage of their lives. So when a married couple answers the listing, Josh wastes no time scheduling a viewing. Their first question cuts straight to the point. What's the catch? Why is it so cheap? Josh carefully tells them it's because of a divorce, skipping any mention of the accidents. He hides the darker truth like a secret locked behind the walls. Finally, the sale goes through. Josh rushes to FaceTime Max, his voice shaking with hope. "We sold the house, Max, and soon, I'll get you a dog. Something good to come out of all this." When Max says he wants a dog like Drake, Josh's mind flashes to the name. Drake, the therapy dog belonging to Rachel's colleague. Could there be something more between Rachel and her coworker? Josh throws himself into rebuilding his life, but Rachel remains firm. She won't agree to shared custody. To her, the whole situation feels unstable, unhealthy. Max needs a steady home, and she's convinced Josh can't provide that right now. Josh packs the last of his things into boxes, ready to leave the house for good, but the sharp corner still haunts him. Rain pours down, making the curve even more dangerous. He keeps a first aid kit close, just in case. Josh doesn't sleep all night, staring out the window, waiting. The accident never comes. He catches himself wishing for it. Frustrated, he waters the asphalt with a hose to make it slippery. When that fails, he takes a saw and cuts down the warning road sign. Only after Josh collapses from exhaustion and falls into a restless sleep does the accident finally happen. The loud crash wakes him instantly. He rushes outside to find an overturned car and an injured woman trapped inside. A bus screeches to a halt nearby, and Josh yells for someone to call 911. Calm and focused, he pulls the woman from the wreckage. She's not breathing. Josh begins chest compressions and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with desperate urgency. But no matter how hard he tries, her chest doesn't rise. A crushing weight settles in Josh's chest. He knows deep down this is his fault. At that moment, the woman gasps and starts breathing again. Relief floods Josh's face just as the ambulance rushes onto the scene. Paramedics take over, stabilizing her with practiced efficiency. In the final scene, Josh leans against the roadside, a small, weary smile breaking through, hope at last flickering in his eyes. What would you do if saving lives became an obsession that cost you everything? Would you keep fighting or finally let go to save what's left? Drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I want to hear how you'd handle this intense struggle.